I remember we were all on a Irving Fell tour, Show of Stars, and we knew that they were going to join the show. That was a Sunday or something. And they were all down in the basement of this big arena where we were playing, the three of them, wearing these gray suits. You could tell they bought in Texas. They had grown up together. They were literally like brothers. They were wonderfully friendly. They were friendly. They were very, very into. They had even a kind of a Texas language we didn't even understand at that time. A lot of things they would talk about and things. It was really kind of a little alien to Phil and I, you know. They were, just the way their sense of humor and everything. We learned, we became such friends that, over the years, it just became part of our lives. You know, the way they were. They were a group too, which they were self-contained, which Phil and I weren't even at that time. So it was really kind of a camaraderie there, you know, in the beginning of rock and roll.
You have to figure a bus loaded with, everybody in the top 10. Frankie Lymon, and it was a lot of fun to be around, and they'd sing, make up songs, and 99 bottles of beer on the wall, stuff like that, and just general kibitzing and a bunch of entertainers. People would be jamming. It just was, I wouldn't take $1 billion for that. Those memories were really sensational. You'd sometimes sleep up in the rack and stuff like that, and sometimes you travel all night, but most of the time you were on the bus. It's fun. It was tiring, but I was, 18 years old, young and healthy. Could do it.
Did the older performers tend to look after the new bloods?
Yeah. Lavern Baker was on the tour, and Lavern was almost like when your buttons came off your jacket, you could go to Lavern and get him sewed on, that kind of thing. And it was just good, It was really a lot of fun. Don and I didn't have a band. We didn't travel with a band and all, and the Crickets were on the show. Jerry Lee was on the show. And Don and I were headlining. The second half consisted of the Crickets opening, the second half, Jerry Lee, and then Don and I. Well, Don and I got down there, and the booker had supplied us with 3 high school boys that couldn't play. So in essence, like you really had a band that you couldn't go on with. So we were stuck, and we opened up that night. And Buddy volunteered to play for us. And it was one of the best. Of course, Jerry Lee, without Buddy, I don't know if we could have followed Jerry Lee at the time. Because Buddy had them really worked over. And, they were really on their feet. And then Jerry Lee came out and did his great act. But only by the grace of God and Buddy Holly and the Crickets did Don and I manage to pull it off. But when Buddy Holly came back and played for us and we did our stuff,
Put it in and everything.
Buddy, and we had a long time to visit. He was up in Eddie Cochran's room, and they called and I came over. We went back to his place and he played me all of his cuts. He had a professional machine in his house. In the middle of his living room it was, and we sat there and listened to about 6 cuts. Sounded great to me, and he was at that time looking to get a hit, and he told me he was going to stay off the road till he got a hit. But I think some of his circumstances, financially, the problems he was having, and maybe with Petty and all of them, forced him to get out on the road.
Is that why he went on the last tour, do you think?
That's what I suspect, because if I go with just what I know, Buddy, the last time I saw Buddy was at a lawyer's office. We were coming out as he was coming in, and he was trying to resolve this problem of money that he thought himself owed. And I think if he'd had that money, he would have waited until one of his songs had gone top 10.